Okay, so let's consider you're a CEO. You want to get a better understanding of not only your own company's position and how your company compares to your competition. You can use the AI because then it's going to be doing it more objectively. And then you're able to look at other websites, let's say social media, to get subjective analysis. So now you're able to do qualitative, quantitative, and sentiment analysis, but do it exponentially faster because now instead of using a person, you're using the AI to not only scour the web by pointing it to your competitors' websites, but also creating nice, brief summaries, rather, that you could then send to, let's say, sales and marketing and other departments. So let's talk about marketing. What's useful with AIs is that you can daisy chain multiple AIs to do certain things. You can have one chatbot or one AI or large language model or GPT focus on, let's say, marketing analysis of you and your competitors. But then you can also say, how could I better market my product or services to a particular demographic or an industry? What is going on in banking in your particular geographic location? Let's say you wanted to focus on a particular demographic. You could do it by age group, by income, things of that caliber. Or let's say you want to understand how you can do marketing based off of a particular timeline. At the end of Q2, the second quarter, you're going to have a new product. And you know what kind of, let's say holidays are coming around that particular time. So focusing on not only the time and the parameters and the thing that you're going to be launching, you can have the AI create adaptive and responsive marketing plans based off of time, demographics, or even financial inclusion. Let's imagine you're in medicine, a doctor, for instance, and you want to use AI to help with, analysis and detection of particular, issues. You can use AIs to actually look at X-rays and MRIs and then give you summations based off of those imagery and then point you to those locations and where it might be. So for example, with X-ray studies, you usually have 18, maybe 20 images. With the AI, you can actually read all of those images in less than a minute. And then it would tell you which page, which study, and what XY mapping or the location in an image where you might want to look for potential issues. And you want to know how you can use AI for the sales process. What's interesting is that now AIs have the ability to search the internet. So now you can take your industry, your product, and your sales approach and actually use AI to point it and tell you where you have the highest probability of success. For sales or marketing or just analyzing your competitors, you can now point it to your competitors and ask, how does your product and your services and even your website and your imagery compare to your competitors? This way you have an unbiased, well, albeit somewhat unbiased, approach of how you compare. And then it'll give you suggestions on how you might improve it. So with sales, often you have to track expenses. With AI, you're able to take a picture of an image and say, please classify this in an expense report. And based off of your demographics, what state you're in, what federal or state controls might be in play, it will help you write that up, and then you can send it to accounting so that you can be reimbursed for your expenses. And all from 1 second of one image. I live in this state, and I'm in this industry, and I had this meeting. I'm now going to provide the receipt for this expense. How much can I deduct, if not everything? And how should the expense report be written for accounting? Cybersecurity and AI, initially, it was hit and miss because AI only works off of the data set that it's trained on. And it's very difficult to have clean data. I mean, how many networks do you know or environments you know that are perfect? It doesn't really exist. So when it came to using AI with cybersecurity, what it was able to do was do adaptive analysis, where it was able to see anomalous and potentially malicious activity in the network and give you recommendations based off of whatever kind of governance, risk, or compliance mandate you kind of needed. How does AI help you with audits? Well, it's great in that you can specify what governance, risk, and compliance or GRC mandate you want. Let's say it's NIST 800, 171, or ISO, or ITIL. You then you say, this is the parameter, and I want to provide an assessment based off of the data that I can give you of how well I'm meeting and or exceeding this control, and what section of that GRC control this documentation addresses. This way, I know where I have gaps. From the CrowdStrike approach, when you have something that big, how could AI have helped that from occurring? So for instance, for software development lifecycle or SDLC, you could have an AI check the code of a developer who's been working 12 hours. So this way you're able to adaptively respond and find out, okay, something didn't work, what most likely occurred. And it'll also give you the remediation of that code change. Hackers got to hack, AI's got to outthink. And the way that they do that is that AIs are able to do what we do exponentially faster. But the human element is always necessary for understanding how to get to see through the weeds. So the way that AI is now currently providing detection and prevention from various malicious attacks is that they're categorizing it based off of heuristics or behavioral analysis, and then telling the end user, or let's say the responder, hey, this is most likely an issue. It also minimizes exponentially false positives because now you got data and now you have clarity. With the security operations center, for instance, we use AI to analyze reams and reams and reams of data. And it gives recommendations based off of probability analysis of what is most likely the case. So think from science perspective, it's k-means, k-clustering, etc. But from a solving a problem perspective is the AI will say, this looks like it's not legit, but a human has to look at it and say, yes, thank you for bringing that up, but it's a false positive. It's not as bad as you think it is. This way, the human is able to tune the AI so that the AI and the human can function collaboratively. So how does AI help a security analyst become more productive? Is that it's able, once you have identified something, let's say you see an indicator of compromise, an IOC, then you can say to the AI, hey, can you tell me other instances where that IP showed up, where that attack showed up in the huge mass of data that you have access to? And oh, by the way, can you create a query for me to find this, this, and this, and present it in a way that tells a story? AI is legit the #1 tool I use in cybersecurity. And it's not commercial AI, it's AI in all of its aspects. Large language models, GPTs, even bots. This way, it tells me a story in a multitude of ways. And I know that just like I don't trust all humans, I don't trust all the data that an AI has. This is why you're getting different perspectives on the same data gives you a truer sense of reality. The benefits of AI and using different types of AI is that it gives you a multitude of different perspectives on huge data sets. Don't just trust one tool, trust a multitude of tools. And if they all tell the same story, you are prepared by presenting that to the other humans that you have to talk to. And you can tell a story based off of facts. So how do you use AI for regulatory controls around privacy? Let's say HIPAA in the States or PIPEDA in Canada. Well, AIs can help you take all of your data and do data classification. Hey, this is normal data, network traffic, but this is electronic public health information. That data classification by ingesting everything and telling you what they call causality and usage and least privilege, all that can be, you can get that information presented to you by using AIs. So if, let's say, now you've gotten the AI to present all of the electronic public health information, now you want to understand who's accessing it and how. And AI can do that by telling you which systems, what users, what accounts, and what times. And then, because let's say you're getting access to this electronic public health information from someone who's not working at that period of time. So that's what we've used in the past to understand that this was actually an attacker and not the doctor logging in. Understanding how you do GRC compliance for medical records, but also how do you use it without breaching HIPAA? Well, one of the good things about AI is that you can obfuscate data. Usually when you get, let's say, an X-ray, it has the personally identifiable information on the top or on the bottom. You can cut that data and then just say, look at this piece of, let's say, the spine or of the neck, or look at this part of the MRI. That way it's assessing it with no bias and no information. So any assessments or data linked to the assessment from the AI is completely sanitized of any personally identifiable information.